Yeah, we're excited to host postseason here in Fayetteville and Bogle Park. I'm really proud of the team
Recording in progress.
Really proud of the team for earning the 4 seed and earning the opportunity to play in Bogle again. So it's going to be it's a tough field. They're all tough this time of year. And we're excited to get going. This has been a long week. It's felt like, come on, get here already. Or maybe that's just me. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, we're excited to get going and excited for the atmosphere in Bogle.
All right, we'll take questions for the student athletes. Ethan, go ahead.
Yeah, for both of you, you were part of the team last year. What feels different this year heading into regional?
Can you hear me? Okay, sorry.
Always.
I feel like there's obviously a different culture because we have a lot of new people and we've made some adjustments and everything. I feel like we have been working really hard on the culture from day one. They sat us down and they were like, okay, and by they I mean the coaches, we're gonna change what we're doing, and we want cemented words that we can rely on instead of just kind of coming up with random quotes to try and hold on to. So we had this firm culture set, and it's really helped us because we've had ups and downs this season, obviously, and the culture that we set in the fall has allowed us to go through those, hills and valleys and be able to come out of them. So that's kind of where we're at right now. Is we know we have the ability to maybe get punched in the face, but we can get back up. And so that's what I feel is a huge difference, is our ability to rely on each other and know that the foundation of this program was built and set in stone instead of just something we try to come up with on the whim when things start to not go our way.
Yeah, I'd probably go exactly off of what she said, but I also want to add that this team is really confident, and we're confident enough to know that if we get punched in the face, we're going to bounce back and we're going to be resilient, and that's one of our core words all year. And so I think just our resiliency has set us apart from last year's team.
You said resiliency. What other, words would you use to describe that culture that you're talking about that y'all built up?
It's love, courage, innovation, and resilience.
Can you go in depth a little bit more on just what all those, mean to the team this year? If we go one by one.
Yes, we can. Okay. All right. Love is we over me. Courage is we do hard things. Resilience, correct me if I'm wrong also. Innovation is challenging the current, and then resilience.
It's just the confidence to just bounce back after things go wrong.
Oh, we cannot be broken.
Yeah.
We bend but don't break.
Yes. That was pretty good.
It was very good. Bend but don't break, but there's also a sense of belonging and purpose that is associated with the word resilience. And so it has many meanings to it. That's not my answer. You have the floor.
Last thing I'll end on
Very
is
good.
just you came off the SEC tournament that, it's been here before. It has it already has that postseason feel. What do y'all think that you learned from that weekend or week in Athens?
For me, it's just I personally need to be better at kind of controlling the moment. That's what I learned from the last game, and I feel like some of us, we just wanted it so bad, and you get to a point where you want it too bad, and you start to think ahead, and whereas we take pride in staying present and in the moment. And I personally feel like I definitely can get better at that, and we'll get better at that this postseason, and that will be a difference for the team, and then for everyone else.
I think we just got a really good taste of a true intense postseason atmosphere, at a neutral site, so just being able to experience that and know that, or notice in the bottom of the seventh, is your heart beating faster, or what do you need to do to keep yourself calm and level-headed. So I think it was a great experience, and just being able to learn from that is such an advantage, and I'm sure OU learned their lessons, and we did too.
Not to maybe rehash last year too much, but I'm wondering how much did y'all use, what happened last year as motivation throughout the year, for, now you're here again in the same spot?
I think we learned from last year, but it's also realizing that we're not that same team, and so not trying to bring it back up too much, and just sticking to the present, knowing that last year wasn't us, and that, just the ability to come back from that and learn and just be a better team is it's so inspiring, and just for the returners to look back and just see all the progress we've made is just, it's awesome to see, and we're excited to, play our game this year at home with the best fans.
This is for both of you guys, but we'll start with Robyn, then go to Bri. We talked to Courtney Day yesterday, and she was saying how that 1-5 start, usually that can break a season for a lot of teams. And instead of breaking y'all's season, it fueled y'all. And so what was it about? What clicked? I know Coach Deifel has talked about what the coaching staff said to you guys, but what clicked as a team in that moment?
I think as a team, we just had to get over whatever mental battles we were facing, get over any physical battles, and just realize that we're meant to be here. Like, we're in the SEC, we're a good team, and that just because you started like this doesn't mean that it has to keep going, because Lord, if it kept going, I don't know what would have happened. But, I'm just glad we turned the page and we were able to learn our lessons and, be a different team from the 1-5 start.
I would say we did a really good job of taking it, and instead of letting it weigh down on us, we kind of used it and picked what we needed from like those 6 games, I would say, and we still to this day reference those quite often. And like when we're having a hard practice or something and we're trying to work on a certain skill that we could have used, say game 2 or 3 against Oklahoma, like they'll mention it to us, and it kind of like refocuses us, and it's like, okay, this isn't just practice in a hot day where we're doing reps. Like, this is very intentional, and we learn from past mistakes. So I think we've done an incredible job of learning from that and then moving on.
And Bri, this is just for you. I got a chance to talk to your dad the other day. Great guy, wonderful person. But he said to me, hey, before she went into her freshman season, she wrote down her goals, and one of them was SEC Freshman of the Year. And he kind of said, whoa, like, let's just make sure we know what we're writing down here, Bri. Well, you've done that and so much more. Did you write down goals for this year? Can you share those?
I actually did not write down any goals. I have done that the past 3 years, and what I kind of learned over the summer about myself is that I was way too outcome and result oriented, and I feel like I kind of felt like that was stemming from setting these high expectations for myself. So, because I feel like at the end of each season, I felt so down about myself and like, oh man, I had a really bad season. But looking back, like, no, like I had 3 great seasons, and maybe I knew I had more in the tank, but I didn't want to like set myself up for failure. And if I didn't meet those goals, I didn't want to feel like I let the team down or anything. So I'm kind of going with the flow instead of I need to hit 25 home runs, because that's like something I set my sophomore year, like didn't even come close. And so it's just like more focused on the team and like team goals, and we talk about those. We don't even have to write those down, but like definitely more team focused than individual like driven.
That makes sense. And then for both of you guys, really quickly, this is my last question, but what have you seen from St. Louis on tape so far? I know you guys are very focused on yourselves, but what do you see from them? What do they do well?
I mean, any team that is in the postseason is a legit team and a great team. So just because we don't see them, all the time in conference or whatever, doesn't mean it's going to be like a cakewalk by any means. I mean, they won their conference championship, and so like obviously something's working for them, and they're coming off of that pretty hot. And so, for us, because we're the hitters, just kind of focusing on not trying to be too big and not trying to win the game with one swing of the bat, because like going back to last year, I feel like that's what kind of was our identity last year, was one swing of the bat wins the game. And so now it's just like staying in our process, staying in our focus, and being very intentional with each pitcher.
Do you have anything else to add to that?
No, I don't. Yeah.
Evan, go ahead.
Yeah, hey, Robyn, for you, curious, how have you seen the pitching staff evolve from the 1-5 start to where you guys are now, coming off of, a really good week, more or less, in Athens?
Yeah, I think the pitching staff learned a lot how to bounce back, because I feel like with our hot start to the season, we didn't really know what it was like to, like Bri says, get punched in the mouth and have to come back from that. So I think after we had that 1-5 start, we were all like, we need to have each other's backs. We need to work as a staff. And I think we've grown close together, all 5 of us. And just knowing that if one person isn't getting the job done that day, someone else is going to pick them up. And so just being a very cohesive unit has definitely helped us.
Thanks.
Dudley, if you have questions for the student athletes, you can go ahead and unmute.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
I said, just talk a little bit. It doesn't guarantee wins being at home, but just talk about how much better it is to play in front of your fans with the pathway to Oklahoma City.
We have great fans, and they know they're great too, and they know how much they mean to us. And they're very involved with the program and with each player, and just having them here with us to, go on this journey with us and fight alongside us is huge. And it's so great because even when we do play away, we still have like a little tribe of fans that come and call the Hogs with us. And so they're just so important, and they play such a huge part in our game, and like momentum shifts, and they, are chirping the umpires sometimes, trying to get us some calls. So they're great, and they're huge for us, and we love playing in front of them.
And also talk a little bit about your freshmen. They haven't been in this kind of stage before, but they played big time summer ball and on the world stage. Just talk about what you expect out of them.
I think they're just going to go out and, just show up and play. That's what they've done all year, the freshmen, and just not really letting the environment get too big, just not really feeling too much pressure, just going out and playing their game. And obviously they come from very high-level programs, so this is just another step up for them. But I don't think they're going to have their nerves with their first postseason, but they'll definitely be able to just settle in quickly and perform like how they always do.
Thank you.
All right, Eric, we'll wrap up with you for the student athletes.
Yes, for both players, starting with you, Robyn, describe each other as a teammate. Robyn, how do you describe Bri Ellis as a teammate?
This is a fun question. Bri has kind of been like my rock in the circle, not only like for myself, but for everyone on the team. Like, if she's just such a leader on this team that people look to her in the hard moments, and I look to her in the circle if I'm feeling nervous or if something isn't going on, and she's always in my grill. She always says that she loses her voice after the game just because of how much she's like yelling there for me and just keeping me out of my head, keeping me focused on the pitch. And so even outside the field, she's an amazing friend, and just being able to play on this team with her this year has been such a blessing, and just having her out there with me and just being able to balance and bounce ideas off each other has been just so exciting and fun.
Robyn is totally awesome and continues to amaze me each game we play. I totally feel like we're in sync when she's pitching and I'm on first. We have like this, like we actually speak telepathically to each other. And I think every pitch it's like I do a little lap around and I talk to Robyn a little bit, and we exchange looks, and we're like, okay, yeah, we know what's going on. So Robyn and I actually have this like pretty strong connection on the field that I think that not many people really either know about or like talk about when they talk about our team. And I just love that, I can count on her in the big moments, and that she can count on me, and that's so huge and important. And I just love that like we can just be best friends on the field and perform at the rate that the both of us do.
And then my last question, how would you both describe of Coach Deifel and her staff getting the most out of you? It seems like you both get better as your careers go on. I think they play a role in that. What is it about Coach Deifel and the staff that gets the most out of you?
Sometimes I feel like they're in the game with us, like they're playing along with us. And I mean, because, Coach Deifel's a pitching coach, so I don't get to necessarily be with her as much. But when I do, it's all positive from her. Now, with that being said, there have, when we need a kick in the butt, she'll let us know. But I think for the hitters, she just constantly reminds me, trust yourself. And I've had several times the past, 2 years where I haven't been feeling myself, and she reminds me you're Bri Ellis. There's no you shouldn't be the one feeling the pressure in the box. And so just hearing that from the pitching side is huge. And then, Coach Gasso and Coach Gibb and Coach Michael, they're so smart, and they do everything they possibly can. They work so hard, endless hours to get us to where we need to go. And just having a special bond with each of them is huge. And they treat us like, family, and we all love each other so much. And so I love this coaching staff for sure.
Yeah, I would say the exact same thing. I think obviously Coach Deifel and I have a great bond because I'm a pitcher and she's our pitching coach, but I've gotten really close to Coach Gasso and Coach Gibb and Coach Michael, just being able to talk mentality with them, or Coach Gibb's really good at giving perspective if something's bothering me. And so with this staff, I feel like I have very different relationships with all of the coaches, and just knowing that I can go to a certain coach if I'm feeling a certain way, and that it's not only Coach Deifel I can go to, and that everyone is going to help me out, regardless if it's Coach Gasso or a hitting coach or Coach Michael. But I just feel like the staff also being so close with each other has rubbed off on us in the team, and just knowing that we're all kind of one. I agree. It kind of does feel like they're playing the game with us. So it's a very special group.
Thank goodness we're not out there. All right. Well, thank you, ladies.
Thank y'all.
Daniel, do you want to start with questions for Coach Deifel?
Sure, I guess just your initial thoughts on St. Louis now that the bracket's been out for a few days.
Yeah, we had a good idea that we were going to get St. Louis once we saw that they won their conference tournament. So we got a little bit of a jump start on them. So obviously winning that last day, winning twice is huge. Knowing how to win under pressure is big time. The season they put together is huge. They have a staff they rely on. They have two arms that are seem to be a 1A, 1B. So we've been diving into that, and then diving into their offense. Their three-hitter has 19 home runs with 80 RBIs. That's incredible. And so we just been prepping our side of just how we're going to counter what they do while fine-tuning what we do. And so we know it's going to be battle, like any postseason matchup.
And then the decision to, hit Courtney Day behind Bri, Ella was in that spot at some point during the season. Just kind of what goes into that decision, and how do you kind of come to that decision?
Well, it's a lot of numbers. Obviously you have to think about what's going to protect Bri Ellis, to force their hand a little bit more of pitching to her and giving her pitches, or at least making them think about what they're going to have to face if they go around her. Courtney was in that position until she just tweaked her knee a little bit when we were in the Florida series, and she wasn't available those 2 days. And Ella stepped up in that moment and handled it beautifully. I think we feel really lucky because we have a few options that we can go behind Bri that protect her not only with numbers but with mindset also. And it's a really fine balance with those things, because if you have to be able to handle the emotion of getting pitched around, get pitched to, and all three of them handle it well. So we felt like when we made that switch recently, going back to Courtney, it was just the power protecting power. But I don't know what we'll do moving forward. We feel like we have three options that could really go behind Bri, and we'd feel really comfortable and confident with that.
And then last one from me, for you personally, how did you kind of handle, last year and kind of take that into this year?
Well, I hate losing. If you're around me at all, you're going to know that. I think it forced us to just kind of really look at what we do, how we do it, and we went to work. So this staff went to work. We worked all summer. We worked on really diving into just having a deeper connection to our culture. I think we have a really great culture. I think that's what we've been known for a lot, not only a high-level play, but just also how we do it and who we are. And we just really wanted to clearly define that and then live that out in everything that we do. And so that was our summer of just really connecting and then connecting to a bigger purpose. And so when I listen to Robyn and Bri talk about it, and not only talk about it to know it, but talk about it because we've lived it, I'm just really proud of the work that we've done and the progress that we've made.
Yeah, how does your staff handle regional scouting? Because you have St. Louis as your next game ahead, but of course you got to know for all the teams, just what does that look like internally whenever you're getting ready for a regional?
Well, it has the feel of the prep for a non-con. You know, that's what we get early in our season, is getting prepped for more than one opponent. And then we get into this SEC season where it's like, how can we beat the same team? You know, 1, 2, 3 times. Every day is a little different and has a different demand to it. Now we're just diving back into prepping for 3 and then spreading that amongst the week. It felt like a long week. It felt like we had the time to really do it. And so that's really nice. And so every day we focused on either, you know, a couple different pitchers or a handful of pitchers. You know, we have to now prep for, you know, 10 pitchers instead of the 3 that maybe we'd face. So just kind of spreading that out and making sure we're prepped. Any situational things they might do, anything they're going to throw at us from the circle, and anything that they do in the box.
Players said that it feels like y'all are in the game with them. Is that how it feels for you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad they feel that. I'm glad that we're not on the field with them, but we are invested in everything, every pitch. I think they feel that in everything that we do. We have a really tight-knit group, and yeah, we are really connected and really invested in each other.
And then last thing I have is just from your seat, what do you think feels different about this team than last year, years prior?
Well, I think from your seat, you can feel it too, just in listening to them talk and getting to have watched them so closely this year. They're wired different than the teams we've had in the past. And just like they said, they learn and want to learn from everything that they go through, the good and the bad. And not every team's wired that way. But when things get tough, they lean on each other. And I think that's huge, because no one person and no one area thinks that they have to carry this team. And they have so much confidence in themselves individually and then in themselves collectively that it frees them up to just play their game. So the pitchers know that if one of them doesn't have a great day, they can give the ball to someone else and they're going to pick them up. But also the offense and the defense is going to pick them up. And the offense knows if they're grinding, the pitchers and the defense are going to keep them in it until they have a chance to break through. And our defense is just incredible. And so it's just staying in the game and knowing that it doesn't just fall on one person or one area. And collectively, this team's very strong and just in search of greatness with everything that they do.
Courtney, those pillars that Robyn and Bri were describing and talking about, where did those come from? Was it the coaching staff? Was it the players themselves? How did that get started with this team?
It was a lot of work this summer. It was our staff just really diving into the work. We worked with one of my good friends, Tina Murray, who just really put us through a bunch of exercises and just a lot of personal growth, a lot of staff growth and connection, and then how does that play out with the team? So it's just starting us really like, who are we? What is Arkansas softball? But also, who is Courtney Deifel? Who is DJ Gasso? Who is Matt Michael? Who is Danielle Gibson? And what do we bring? And what's important to us individually and what's important to us collectively? And then how does that play out into the program? And then how do we live that in everything that we do? And it was so intentional about it really fitting who we were as people and as a coaching staff and as a program. And then it was, how is this gonna be how we live with everything that we do? And so it was a lot of work. It was really fulfilling. And it made us significantly closer. And then you can feel just from how they talk about it, it has just created a bond that is unlike any team we've had.
How have you seen this pitching staff grow just from that 1-5 start and bouncing back like they have? Robyn said, I think that's what we've done, is just had a lot of experience and been able to be resilient. How have you seen them working with them this entire season grow?
Well, it's the resilience piece more than anything. It's knowing that we're not going to ask them to be perfect. We're going to ask them to give us a chance. This game's really offensive. It's only become more offensive this year. And so it's their ability to trust the work that they've done, trust each other, and then trust the rest of the team. And so it's based on trust. But the pitching staff has never stopped working towards being their best version. And sometimes that's tough in this game in any area. Offense, defense, pitching is you have to face a lot of failure. You're going to face some lows, and you can't lose motivation or enthusiasm towards working towards your best version. And this group hasn't flinched at that. So I'll speak specifically to the pitchers, but that's been the entire group is when we face a hard time, they just dig in and they don't lose their enthusiasm towards getting to their best version. So I'm just really proud of them. I'm proud of their progress. I'm proud of their growth, and I'm proud of their investment in each other.
I actually have another one. Whenever a player is having a year like Bri is having, you see in some instances that can create some sort of like polarization on a team. But it seems like your team has just really embraced the season that she's having. What has that been like from your seat to see as the season's progressed and she's done all these things, how the team is, I mean, obviously with Robyn, how she talks about Bri, like there's no sort of like jealousy there, I don't think. Yeah.
No, I think this team knows that not only, what she's doing and how important she is, but she knows how important everyone else is. And so I think that's the thing that you see from Bri is you almost have to force her to talk about herself. When you give her a question, she's going to talk about the team. She's going to talk about the pitcher. She's going to talk about what everyone else is doing, and she means it. Like, she means it. And the thing with Bri is no matter how much focus has been on her this year, if everybody doesn't do what they're doing around her, she doesn't get to have that. And the amount of work she's put in, I will never miss the opportunity to talk about how much work she's put in. She did not luck into this. Obviously, she's incredibly talented. I'm not going to take that away, but she has never just rested on, I have a skill set. Like, no, she's grinded every day. You're never going to find a day she's not in there working. And she also just builds up the ones around her. But there's a lot of freedom that comes from not feeling it all falls on you. And that's what this team feels from each other. But when you have someone like Bri doing what she's doing, and the first thing she does is talk about her teammates, it's really easy to get behind that. And they all know that they're witnessing something that's never been done, and they're witnessing greatness, and they see firsthand her work ethic, and they just respect the crap out of it. So it's pretty special.
Back to some of the work you did in the summer, is that the first time that you've done something like that in your coaching career? And maybe, has your opinion on that kind of stuff changed compared to where you started?
No, I think that when you are close to our program, you will feel our culture. And I think that our culture has been really strong. And I think that we felt like we needed to reach a deeper level with that, like as a staff and then as a program. I think the landscape of college athletics is changing. And so with that, we wanted to just kind of stay ahead of, you need to have a sense of purpose and belonging collectively, that you're all on the same page, that you're all in it together, that you believe in what you're doing on the daily basis. And so we just wanted to bring that to life a little bit more. And it was all of our commitment as a staff together to just really dive in. And so I guess it's the first time I've done like a deep dive in that. I don't think it's the first time that we've put an emphasis on culture or valued culture. That's always been something that we've done, but it just made it a little bit more tangible, and it made a deeper connection to it.
Dudley, you can go ahead.
Just share a couple of thoughts on the other two teams that are here that form the regional.
Oh yeah, well, they're tough. we have a tough draw. We have a tough field. They're all tough this time of year, and we're tough. When you look at Oklahoma State, they've had a lot of success in the postseason. They're a team that has an ace in the circle. That's one of the best, has some of the best numbers in the game, and they rely on her heavily. And so they're tough. They have a strong offense. They have a strong ace. They have a good supporting cast behind her, but they're going to rely on Ruby a ton. And then you have Indiana, who has the highest team batting average in the country. They swing it. they swing it. And I think that they look and think that they can outpace who they play. So each team has a different makeup. Each team is a postseason team. So all of them are obviously playing well right now and ready for the postseason, but each bring different challenges, and it should be some good softball.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
Eric, go ahead.
Coach, I'm just curious from going back to Selection Sunday night, because I think we kind of take this for granted. There are players in your roster that experience that for the first time, to see their team's name line up. And I think of a Wyckoff who just missed last year. What was it like and meant for them? Because it's still special to them, even if from the outside people are expecting it. It's still a special night for some of those players.
Well, it's still a special night for those that have seen their name, too. It's still a special night for me, for our staff. We'll never take for granted seeing our name on Selection Sunday, and especially with the opportunity to host. So I think there's just like a collective energy from this group that knew they've put the work in, knew they've put together a resume that could guarantee their name's going to be on there. So I think there's a little bit of, it's really exciting to know your name's going to be up there, or that we're not going in curious if we're going to see our name. And then it's just this, I don't know how to say it other than this just really cool collective energy from the group that was just like, man, let's go. We're ready. It's exciting, but I'll never take it for granted either, Eric. It's special for me too.
That's good. I know you were stunned by the teams that went in your region, big time there with St. Louis and Oklahoma State in particular. But what does it mean for that? You got one of the more interesting regionals that a lot of people are talking about. A lot of eyeballs are going to be on your regional. It's always exciting and exposure for the program that a lot of people are going to be watching and keeping an eye on Bogle this weekend.
Yeah, well, I think it's postseason softball, so you could make an argument for any regional. They're all exciting. And so, yeah, I think that there's eyes on ours because we have a team that's done well in the postseason. They were in the conversation to host. They didn't get a host, so they're one of the top twos. And then you look at our 3 seed, who's a very tough 3, who can flat out swing it. And then you look at St. Louis, who had to grind to get there and just playing really well. And so it's a interesting makeup, as many regionals are. But I think it's going to be exciting. I don't know. I just think it's going to be exciting, like postseason softball.
Bri Ellis, officially a top 10 National Player of the Year finalist, of course, SEC Player of the Year. When was the moment did you see this as a possibility for her?
Well, I always knew it was a possibility for her because she's incredibly talented. I think that when you see early the numbers that she's putting up, you almost temper your expectations a little bit because it's like, dang, there's no way she can keep it up. You know, like there's what she's doing, the production she's having, not just the power, but the average and all of those things. It's just not for a hitter built like her. And so I think you just kind of, you start to temper those expectations thinking, okay, that might dip a little, it might come down, it might, you know, like we get in conference, all, you know, you just, but also know that, dang, she's just dialed. Like I still remember her first at bat at Texas State, and it just felt like inevitably she was going to hit a home run. Like I feel like she is every time she steps in the box. And so I remember that like it was a week ago. And so I just feel like, she's exceeded expectations, and I had really high expectations for her. So I don't know how to answer that. She's incredibly talented. She's handled the mindset of this game and those numbers as well as you possibly can. And it's just been pretty cool to have a front row seat to it.
And then my last question to you, what is a couple of keys for your team to have a successful weekend? If you do blank, you like your chances this weekend. What is that?
Well, if we stay present and we respond, I like our chances. It is not going to be a straight line. It is not going to be something that we can win if we get ahead of ourselves. We have to focus on us and stay really present. And when if we get punched in the face, punched in the mouth, however, how the girls' verbiage, we got to respond. And that's what this team has done all year. They've shown a huge response in those moments. We're going to have to do that quickly. But I just think stay present, lean into each other, and fight every pitch.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Recording